everybody. Welcome back to Tracklandia. We are barreling towards the 41st edition of the California International Marathon, taking place December 8th this year. The race from Folsom to the capital. It's going to be a stellar field, and we have two of the elites, top billed athletes that'll be racing the course this year. Calli Hauger-Thackery and Nick Hauger here with us. Calli is a Nike athlete, second only to Paula Radcliffe now on the UK all-time list for the marathon. So that's a stellar accomplishment there. 2:21 this year in Berlin, represented Great Britain in Paris also. And then Nick Hauger, member of the Hoka NAZ elite team, 2:12 marathoner, did that in Sacramento a few years back. And a former Portland pilot too. So we always love to see pilots here on the program.
Keeping it going, I don't even, it's crazy. How many of us are still even going? I don't know, but I'm here.
There's a lot. It's a machine. There's more coming out every day.
I know it. It's like 40 guys on the roster every year, and it's, someone's bound to land.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about that program is I think that Rob Connor has titled the sub 30 10K the blue collar 4-minute mile.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then depending on the year and like who's doing well in the 10K or the 15 or the steeple, he renames what Portland is all about. So normally it's cross country U, just because, on the track, we don't have the track record, right? But then sometimes you'll get like 3 guys that are running pretty well in the steeple. He goes, "Oh, dude, we're steeple U now. Come on, forget cross country." You don't know what you're going to get with the guy, but he's amazing. I'm so fortunate that we crossed paths and he got me here, so it's great.
Yeah, we're a city that's constantly evolving and reinventing ourselves. Yeah. So it's motivating.
Yeah, good old Portland.
Yeah, keep Portland running.
Yes.
But this isn't about Portland. This is about Sacramento.
Here we are.
And
I'm all about, I love a California race. It just fires me up. It feels like, that's why my name came from,
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I was born there, but unfortunately I was just conceived there. That's as far as it got, and I have to know this for the rest of my life. But that's okay. Thank you, Mum. Thank you, Dad. But I do feel like a connection with the place, so that's always fun, And they like to my mum likes to remind me every time I'm in California. She's like, "That's where you were conceived."
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's huge for her.
Last year it's like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait for CIM," a post, and then she comments, "Yep, that's where Calli was conceived." I'm like, "Thank you, thanks."
I'm just used to it.
So magical things happen in California. It sounds like. Yeah, and this year it's going to be a great race down there. It's always an amazing field put together. One of the deepest marathons in the world. The depth there is something that everybody always talks about with in the previous years, the number of OTQs that have come out. And then on the women's side too, the course record has fallen a couple times in the past couple years. And given your mark earlier this year, Calli, is that something that you'll be focusing on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Obviously you always want to shoot for that, the win, and that would be a bonus as well to get the course record. I mean, I know every marathon's different though. I feel very new to the marathon still. So hopefully the course is good to me and everything, the stars align on the day with the 26.2 miles. But no, training's been going really well, and I've been since Berlin, I came off it really well, thankfully, and training's been going well up here in Flagstaff. I've got a good team of girls around me what have been keeping me very sharp and ready for this kind of race. So I'm excited. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fun. Yeah,
there's some institutional knowledge here too about this race because Nick, you've run it a couple times now.
Yeah, this will be time number 3. So hoping for 3rd time's the charm. I'm still chasing that elusive debut that I had there in 2021. It was too good for a debut, it just, everything went right. But yeah, I think that definitely helps, right? I've only spoken highly of this race, and I feel like I understand it really well because I've come in from 2 different positions, debut, naive to it, but pretty fit and able to kind of conquer what it takes, for 26.2 on the day. And then, 2 years later, backs up against the wall, still need no TQ, not very fit, but thankfully understanding what the course entails and understanding it in a different light entirely. And so with that, I think I have a feel like I have a good knowledge of the race, and I think that helps Calli as she heads into it as well. She's like, well, so it's net downhill, but you kind of have to work for it. I'm like, exactly. Yeah, no, I can't. I love being in Sacramento. It's great. The course is great. The crowd is incredible, especially as you're coming into the last few miles there. So it's just a blast. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's something everybody talks about with the course is the net downhill, but there are some hills at the front. So I didn't take a look back at your 2021 race when you ran 2:12:59, yeah. Still 2:12.
I'm riding 2:12. I've had a couple people say, well, you're basically a 2:13 runner. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Not what it says.
I didn't push that last corner to be a 2:13 runner. I pushed it to be a 2:12 guy. So come on, give me that.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't take a look back at how you ran that. But did you hit it hard from the beginning? Did you conserve? Yeah. What was your game plan?
Yeah, we really conserved. I mean, it's the first time at the distance. The whole thing seemed daunting to me. I knew I was strong enough to be able to handle it from like a training perspective. Mentally, I had no idea what I was getting into. I knew I'd be a marathoner one day, but I was 25 and new to this thing and kind of just trying a distance to preserve a career and see what there is lying ahead. And so with that, we went out pretty conservative. I think we probably ran between 5:08 and 5:10 for up until mile probably 21.
I'll be on your toes, babe.
I know, you probably will. And then I got sick of just staying antsy. Like it was like halfway in, I'm like, this is too easy. 16, 15 miles in, too easy. 18 in, I'm like, I want to go, but I'm still not going to. And then I saw people coming back to us around 2021, and I was like, okay, I'm going. I don't care anymore. If I blow up the last mile, I learned a lesson. Thankfully, I didn't. And I think I closed it in at like 4:55, so the last couple miles on the debut there. So, and that was, CJ was running, and he was one of the first guys I caught and passed, and then a couple more, and then sure enough, I'm on the podium with Rory Linkletter, former teammate, and yeah, it was a blast. I'm like, okay, this is sweet. Can it go this way every time? And that's the other naive nature of the distance is you don't know what lies ahead. Because at that point, I thought sky's the limit. I'm running 2:10 next year. I'm running 2:08 after that. And then I was injured for 2 years, so.
Unfortunately, Nick's bones are against him. They don't love marathon running, but, that's his calling and he's still trudging on anyway.
I do it anyway. But yeah, it was a great way to start it out. You learn a lot from it. And then, a couple years later for only my next one, just trying to qualify for the trials, you realize how conservative you need to be and how much you can gain at the end as well. And I learned that in my own experience at CIM last year in seeing how Calli has run her marathons and that sort of thing. So there's just been experience gained, even if I've been out of it for a while. And I think you take that to the line and take it through all the miles and it should land to be something decent.
It seems like that has been the strategy that's yielded the most victories, I guess, in CIM, personal and overall, is the conserve through the hills, and then that last 10K that's flat through the streets. Once you get to downtown, just hammer that if you can. I mean, that's not everybody can, but that's been the strategy that's won in the past. I guess it's interesting because it's tough when you make a solo effort from the go once you hit the hills. But Calli, this is a mass start too, so you won't be solo out there, most likely.
I hope not. I hope there's some guys to roll with, and I hope they want to help, taking turns. I'm all about I'll help out as well. But I feel like in so many of these marathons, just in races, in fact, just not just marathons, guys love to just sit on me, and I can't be doing much. I can't be much help. I'm 5'0" and I'm like, why are you wanting to sit on me right now? Come on, taking turns. Let's work together. So it'd be great if there's some nice guys who want to let me roll with them, and yeah, we can take in turns and make it fun. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, they're waiting for that final kick, I think. It's not cool though.
They don't want to be chicked.
Yeah.
You always have more in the tank than they do, even though you are doing the work. I've seen it 10 times now, and it's just, I'm like, come on, guys, come on.
Use and abuse.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Well, you both ran together in Berlin in Calli's 2:21 race there. So tell me about that strategy going in. That's a different type of course than CIM will be. But being together, running the whole way, Nick, how was that being with Calli throughout that effort?
Yeah, it was fun because it was a second shot at this thing, taking advantage of the fitness that she gained over the summer, a bit of redemption post Paris as well, and I paced her in her debut up through 23 miles, and that was at McCurdy Micro, a lot of loops. I mean, it was like 9 3-mile loops, it was, or something like that. It was crazy, and we really set out to make it as similar to that as we possibly could. Obviously it's so different. There's so much more crowd noise. There's navigating bottle stations in a much different manner. There's a lot more people around us. And yeah, we went out with a similar mindset of like, let's just be as conservative and smooth through halfway as we possibly can. And in reality, that came out to 71 flat. And I didn't really know exactly where we were going to land. I think we had a range, and I understood what that pacing should feel like. But what was cool is, at a certain point, I went to the front of that thing, and there's Calli mirroring pretty much my every move, fall on the blue line, the whole thing, and there's like a bunch of people around.
We just found ourselves in this pack, but like it was like a 10 to 8 person pack, and they were like on us. So I was just like running with Nick, and then it was almost like this. I'm like, well, we've committed now. We're like, I guess we're taking charge of this pack. But I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a strength in that, and there's a strength in numbers and knowing that they're like behind me, ready. There was like 2 girls in the pack as well, so I'm like, they're ready to like just pounce. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna make it hard for them. Like, if they want to come with this pace, that's great. But no, it was good. It made it like so we couldn't slack. Basically.
No, there was no slack, and that's the thing about like pacing and understanding. Like, you take my wife's goal and you internalize that a bit, and you're like, okay, I need to be on this here. Like, there's no screwing up. I'm looking at the watch, like all of the things, and we use a very interesting strategy for check-ins, because it's like you don't want to be chatting a lot, but we use like kind of this like funny little number system that we came up before the debut, and it was much more necessary, I think, with the debut. And at Berlin, I was just giving a little check-in. I'm like, okay, give me a number. She's like, 3, comfortable. And whereas the debut, she's shouting from behind, like in the little train that we have going, I'm still at a 3, and it's the debut, and I'm wanting it to like go a certain way and be really positive. But then there's more pressure with Berlin. Like, we're trying to finish really high and take advantage of fitness, put down a good time, and feel really good during this whole process. And so mitigating that and managing that within it is it's a big task, but at the same time, we had a blast with it. I just kept turning to her and like going through all this crowd noise. I'm like, look where we're at. This is so cool. Like, just holding that gratitude alongside her was really important and really fun. And then, second half, when we start eating up spots, like, it just gets really fun.
That's where I had a bit of a funk. Like, I kind of like everything came back to me from Paris, and I started remembering like where I dropped out, and I had this like, honestly, like it was mentally got really tough. But Nick is like not dropping off in pace. He, honestly, like 5-10 meters ahead, and I'm thinking, little shit, like, why is he not checking in? But at the same time, I'm like, no, he just knows what I need to be getting, and like, if I just need to level up. Basically, I need to be with my husband and level up and like not slack. Like, so I'm like, come on, Calli, don't feel sorry for yourself. You just gotta get to him. And which I love that about him. He's not just gonna like, just because I'm having a hard point in the race, like he knows I'm just gonna catch up. Like, I will get through it. I'm just having a little bit of a moment, and I had my moment, and then luckily, thank God, my legs came back to me, and yeah, we ended up negative splitting on the day, so it ended up being a really great day, and I'm very happy. I think there's a lot more to come, but it was a big like proud moment because it's been a hard few months. Like,
yeah, so that was about mile 17. That was the rough spot or thereabouts.
It was actually a bit earlier, which was really like scary because it was like just after halfway, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like I've only just passed halfway. I've still got like a long way to go, and I was mentally like in a really bad spot where everything was telling me like, I don't think I'm strong enough yet. I think it's too soon after Paris, because I was the one what was like really shooting for Berlin, but at the same time, I knew it was going to be a risk, like mentally more than anything. I knew I was physically in a great spot if I could mentally get my thoughts and everything on track. But it was kind of one of those where I just have to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, instead of like, I feel like the longer I left it and waited to like go all out at either a CIM or a Valencia, whatever that would have been, it was just like another block for me to like then think about. And I know that things can go on in a block as well. And I was just like, no, let's just do it now. Let's bank the fitness I've got and just pray that mentally I can get through this. But no, like incredible with the atmosphere. And then we had this random guy who like entered the chat in around 13 miles, and he like was amazing. Like he just came, like just had a great day as well. And he like came up to me and was like, come on, Calli, you've got this. Like, and I was like in that moment where I was really like not in a good way, and I was feeling sorry for myself. But he like, him and Nick like literally took it on. And I was like, and for once I could just like really like insert myself behind two guys and like just get in like a rhythm while like, and then I was like, okay. And that's just like, you know, the waves and like all of it of the marathon and life, you know, like you go through some bad patches, some good patches. And I just think, yeah. And like, luckily, like it all came together in the end, like, and thank God, because yeah, it was cool. It was really good. And it just says a lot about the marathon distance. And thank God I regained my love back for it again, because after a DNF, it's really tough. Like, you doubt everything. You're like that, and that's your last race, and that's all you think about. But I was just glad to like actually like, no, I'm like, no, I've trained this hard for a reason. We're going to change this storyline, like, and we did it. Like, obviously, like Nick helped massively, tremendously in that race, and like just not just that race, but like the whole few months, because it's not been easy. It's been a hard ride, and you know, life happens. But yeah, it's been a journey, but we're here, and now we've got CIM.
There's so many things wrapped up in that too. Just the hard few months that you had, and I know that you said something on social media too. But you were dealing with your mom's illness at that point in time through the Olympics. And can I ask how everything is going?
Yeah, no, it's good. Like it's obviously like up and down. Like it's definitely like the best case scenario in terms of how cancer diagnosis goes. Like before the Olympics, as a family, we were hoping it wasn't terminal. That's all we were praying for. But there were signs that it was going to be terminal. But thankfully it wasn't. And it's just grade 1 in one breast and grade 2 in the other. And she's got through grade 3 cancer 7 years prior. So I'm like, Mom, you can do this. This is honestly like, I know cancer sucks, but like this is like the best case. And you know what? Since the last 7 years, like as well, like in terms of treatment, everything's just stepped up. Like this time, I feel like she's got so much more support. She's in a much more positive environment, like in terms of how the treatment goes. And I feel like we're pretty positive about it, and we're just checking in as a family. And we've also got a lot of good stuff going on as well. Like my sister's pregnant, like so we've got I'm going to be an auntie for the first time. Nick's going to be an uncle, and my mum's going to be a grandma for the first time. So we've got some like good stuff as well, and we're just trying to keep it like positive and light, and but thanks for asking.
That's so good to hear. Yeah, that's so good to hear. Well, dealing with that, obviously. And then also, it's tough to get back, especially that quickly, too, when you've had a race like that. And the marathon, I always say, is like, I've never run a marathon. I was a track guy. But it's so different because if you're running a 15 or an 8, you got next week. All right, you have a bad race, you can go right back out there and get it back. But the marathon, there's this long build, months at a time. Mm-hmm. And then if it doesn't go right, you're just back to the darkness, back to the roads.
Yeah, I know, because I started off as a 5K runner, and honestly, like that was my dream. I always thought I'd make it in the 5K. I mean, just the marathon chose me, you know. But it's like it's so different because I could race all the time. Like I was racing 5Ks like every weekend, pretty much. I was PBing every weekend. Whereas the marathon, if like you have one, whether it's a good one, a bad one, I feel like you have to like reset either way, and like it takes a while to then like go again. Like it's not. Yeah, exactly like what you said. It's just, which is hard for me because I like to race all the time. So
that's what like the thing I've told, because we do quite a bit of coaching like online as well, and what I've said to a lot of people is like the marathon is a couple things. It's mostly physical and probably all mental, and then there's a bit of luck in there as well. To have the Paris moment, and then only a few weeks later say. I mean, she got in like 10 days before, we didn't even know what was happening. And then to all of a sudden switch and head into something that big with that much expectation on yourself. I'm like, it didn't matter the physicality of it. That was the biggest mental obstacle I've seen anyone have to go through. And that, everyone's like, wow, Calli did so well. I'm like, I don't know how. Like that mental hurdle and then the mental obstacle halfway through and then to finish that strong and that well, I mean, my God, like sky's the limit, my goodness. So that was remarkable on that end. It really was. And that's a proud moment for everyone involved, right? It's like, I see that finish and it's like, wow, okay, there we go. Like just this big embrace. We know what that meant. We know everything that went into it. And so just a beautiful moment that we'll never forget. That's for sure.
Then got to be an inspiring one for you too, doing the same thing, getting out there and grinding all the time and coming back from injury, seeing that you can get through those tough points and come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, credit, he still did a marathon, like, and it was still 2:21. He pretty much did the whole damn thing. Yeah, the circumstances for you weren't great going into it either, and he pulled it off, and I think that, yeah, you're stronger for that as well. And
yeah, it's just been highly motivating, right? It's like Calli and I work together to build her block, and that's how we really see it. It's like this really collaborative effort, and put those goals on the table that we know she can do collectively. And so you have a lot of buy-in, like regardless of me being husband or whatever. It's like coach, husband, emotional support. Like there's so many things that go into it. So there's like those goals mean a lot to me as well. And so to be a small piece in that puzzle is it's immense. Like you feel it, you feel it fully. So I felt Paris, I felt Berlin, I felt those things alongside her. And I also I know what it's like I don't know what world class feels like. That's what I said afterwards, like with Berlin. I'm not to the level where she is at. It's remarkable, right? But I understand heartbreak. I understand riding the line.
There's still time.
Yeah. And so that helps this team, like partnership, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great way. That's a great way to put it. I mean, it seems like both of you have a great or collaborative effort in this team here, and how you motivate each other and inspire each other. But you're going to be running. Is this the first marathon where you're each going to be focusing on your own race?
I guess the first marathon. Yeah, we've done a few races, haven't we? Where like you do yours, I do mine.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's not been too many. Calli really hasn't seen me race too many times since we've been together. So anytime that I get to line up with some fitness under the legs and some confidence, she gets pretty excited, which is cool. That's fun. It's like it's the role reversed a little bit, which is always fun. So yeah, to be on the line together and then set off and say like, hey, see you on the other side. Like that's gonna be really cool.
Well, how's that going to go? Because, Nick, you've been through the process too. You take that early morning bus back from the Capitol, where the hotel is, up to the start line, and it's dark. And that bus ride, I'm on it usually, and it's always like very silent. Everybody's kind of checking in on themselves, waking up, drinking their coffee, doing their pre-race routine, and then you get to I think it's like a boat sales store where you start, like you get everything together and the portal potties are lined up. How's that going to be with you two? Are you going to be checking in on each other and then you go your separate ways, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that encapsulates it really well. I think it's, Calli hasn't experienced that all too many times, right? Like you've paced London and things, and there's a bus ride with that. And I don't know. It's like, it is totally different. It's kind of like that New York, Boston-esque morning where it's dark, you're on a bus ride for a while, and you're just like keeping the antsiness like, bottled up. But I just think us being together, like we're doing this 24/7 all the time. It's like, okay, we're going to go double later, So in a way, I think it feels familiar. It'll feel light. Calli always keeps things pretty light, so then I can't get too nervous or too serious, which will be a really nice thing. Last year I had my teammate Matt Baxter there, and we were cracking jokes on the whole bus ride over. And I just want that, because you need to have that lightness to this whole thing, because if you're really serious and you're really pumped up, you're going to burn it way too early in the marathon. So I look forward to that.
Like we were like that for Berlin. We were like super chilled about it. We were like, wow, look at this. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we get to do. Like looking at down the streets, like this is cool.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't know. I don't get too nervous. I just get excited. Like the work's done at this point. I feel like you only get nervous if you know you're just like not ready.
Yeah.
Like if you're maybe a bit underprepared or something, and maybe that's when you get more nervous. I don't know. But Paris, I was actually really nervous though. I felt like I was going to war. I was like, oh my god, genuinely. I was like, what am I doing? Like, and that wasn't a good sign. I should have known then what was going to happen. It was, yeah, that was different. But I've got another 4 years.
But it's good to have, yeah, and it's good to have that experience, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
So I'm sure
Like,
you're better.
it's all learnings, and you just take away from each one for sure.
So are there goals in this, specific goals that you've been thinking about in this build up for CIM for each of you? It doesn't have to be a time or a pace, or what are the individual goals and that you've been focusing on?
The win and the course record.
Okay. Well, okay. So
That's Calli for you.
Paige Stone.
This is why she's great.
I'm like, you better get that.
Look, this course record on the men's side has stood for longer than I've been alive.
1993.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that actually true? 1993?
Yes.
That's when I was born.
Yeah.
So you like, that's a sign.
Yeah. And I think it stands for good reason. Like I said at the beginning, like this is, it's easy to underestimate this course and to get to and then to overestimate how you're feeling as well early on. You've got fresh legs and you have people willing to go out hard, and you don't know what toll that's going to take at mile 21, 22, wherever it lands. I felt like I'd made a grave mistake halfway in, probably 25K in last year, where I was like, okay, the quads are feeling a lot heavier than I want them to be right now. And that was just a lack of fitness. Like, we got married like 3 weeks beforehand, went on honeymoon after that. Like, I was not in shape for it.
You were dancing.
Yeah. And so like there is a cautiousness to this thing, and that's where until you run it, you don't know what you're getting into, right? But with that, I think there's potential that this year with kind of the top end of that group to say, like, I think this could be the year. And I think, I said it last year to Danielle. I'm like, gosh, it's probably about time this course record gets broken. She goes, I want it to happen every year. I'm like, maybe it's next year. And so with that, I think you just poise yourself in the right position halfway in and see where it goes from there. I have only ever negative split at CIM, and I would love to do that again. How much that is this year compared to, the last times I've done it, I don't know. But I feel like for the first time in a while, I'm aerobically in a different spot and calloused a lot more than I have been as well. And that's a testament to like training with Calli a ton as well. Like, you get your ass out the door and you go get it done. So with that, we focus on little things, right? It's executing the bottle stations well. It's staying really, really calm and smooth, and then how bold can you be the last couple miles if it's there?
Well, we do talk about it. We do talk about it every single year, the men's course record, and it's 2:10:27 by the great Jerry Lawson, 1993. But it seems like we do have somebody. It's usually one guy that goes out and tries to get it all by himself, which is a difficult way to do it. We're like, if we could just get a critical group of guys on that pace early on, working with each other, there's more of a shot. Have you been talking with anybody about this heading in?
I mean, not really, no. In terms of like people racing, no, not really. I guess we kind of see if there's any whispers of how things will go, and you make a good judgment call for yourself early on. There's like, what's CJ's MO? Like, most of the time, it's to go out to bury himself and others, and then say, let's see what happens. And like, hats off to this guy. It's working, right? Like, this guy is freaking good, and he's on his third marathon major. Like,
it's crazy.
He's doing remarkable things, and he will be probably the guy who sets the tone early. How much of a tone will he set? I don't know, because like last year, a couple of guys went out pretty hard, and they all came back in pace, but he still was the guy who held on. I imagine his thought process is something of similar, to last year.
You might mix things up,
Yeah, we don't know.
I just want to sit on
I don't know. That's the mystery of this thing, right? It's you have a collective group of guys who might be able to do it, and probably 5 different mindsets around it, and you just have to make the best call for you on the day. So we get out and we see what happens, and I want to run a nice range of paces up and down the hills, enjoy the crowd, and then see how hard I can bring it home. And
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's still a race. It's
yeah,
yeah, nobody's going to tip their hand. They want to take the win.
So that's kind of my piece, I guess. I don't know. You don't think about it too much because then you're getting too excited 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Sure. We still have Thanksgiving to
Yeah.
get through.
We do.
Well, yeah, and Sacramento Running Association always does a great job setting everything up here. They're so hospitable. It's one of my favorite weekends every year to go down there because there's such a great energy and a welcoming energy around this race. And both of you ran the 10 miler earlier this year in April that they have too. So you've been down there and enjoyed it. How did that set you up for your next trip to Sacramento? Was that a practice run?
I mean, it's a completely different course.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it feels like home in a way. Like I remember back in 2018, I won the West Regional cross country meet in Sacramento. And, ever since then, it just feels like I've had good mojo in Sacramento, which has always been fun. So for me, it's like just getting back to almost home roots in a weird way that's grown into.
Same.
And then for Calli as well. And yeah, I mean, the great thing was you got to chat with Danielle and everything. And it's just good. It's more of a relationship standpoint. You can feel that positive energy and so many people going for, look, like just because our goals are faster than some others, like we have an athlete going for his second marathon of the year. He debuted at Chicago really well, and CIM was the main focal point. And it's like he's in a really good position to run even faster than he did at Chicago. Like that's really exciting for us as coaches, but also like people lining up behind us on that thing. Like you look back and you're like, that's thousands and thousands of people. Like that's cool. Like everyone is starting this thing with a similar effort, and they're grinding the hills together, and they're feeling this thing like all in the same way. It's no different. All goals matter, and so it's that energy is palpable, like you say. So, yeah.
And you got the half mile of outhouses down the road too behind you. So just every box is checked. Everybody's looked after. Yes. It's a great thing to be a part of. So both of you, this is a great way to end the year here in Sacramento, December race. What are your plans afterwards? Are you going to stay in California for a little bit? What's going on?
Yeah.
Of course. I'm excited for that part as well. Like, I think that'll be the incentive for the race, the whole race. It's like I'm finally going to have a break because it has been a very big year. And all my races, to be fair, like credit to my body for getting this far because I seriously don't know how it's doing it. Like, I feel like I do everything right, but at the same time, like, things can always go wrong, especially with marathon training. It's not easy on your body. But here we are, we're doing another marathon, and then we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate the year. We're going to look back and, like, just properly, like,
Yeah, just let it all sink in.
Finally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't really do that often. So it'd be nice to actually have a proper break. We've not done that yet.
Yeah.
We're going to stay around California for a week. We're going to hire a car. We've hired it for like 1 week, and we're going to probably drive it like back to Phoenix, but we're going to obviously like make our way through the whole of California out there. We'll go to like a lot of different spots. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to do some wine tasting. If anyone's got any recommendations of any nice hotels or things to do, please let us know because
I've got a lot. So
yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk after this, but yeah, I grew up just 45 minutes south of Sacramento. Awesome. So yeah, we got married. My wife and I got married in Carmel, which is a beautiful place to go on the coast. So yeah, we'll talk. You guys are gonna have a great time. I'm so excited for you.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we go from Paris straight into Berlin, and then it's like now we're onto this, right? It's just one thing after another. And so it feels finalizing like 2024 in a way for us, which is really cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for this race and to watch both of you race as well. I'll be in the lead car down there, so I get to check in on how you're doing.
Do you guys like bounce back and forth like between women and men and that sort of thing? Or like where do you kind of position yourself? How does that work for you guys?
So we have one women's lead car and one men's lead car, and then we have people giving updates on everybody in both cars. So Sometimes the men's lead car will drift back and see the women's pack and then move up. But yeah, it's always a blast to be up there and just see these massive packs usually on these ridiculous paces. It's something that you don't see anywhere else in the world. Like from the results that I've seen, not that I've been everywhere, but the finish line at CIM is something different too, just because you get all of these people finishing together and there's depth. There will probably be some separation where you both are. But yeah, the numbers are ridiculous, and there's so much joy with people crossing the finish line too. Yeah, and I always say there's probably more vomit at the finish line than any other race.
God, gotta love
There's
it.
definitely.
I hope there's none of that with us. Please, none of.
No. Yeah, no.
You just never know
There's definitely
how your body's gonna react.
You're spot on with that. I remember going from like the elite like hospitality area in 2021 and then heading over to awards afterwards, and you kind of go through and like there's things that waft up and you're like, okay, people have worked really hard today. That's impressive. There's a lot of people still finishing, and yeah, there's all sorts of it. But it's beautiful, isn't it?
I'll let you off if you've got an American flag around you and then you're vomiting. I'll let you off.
I've got a theory around that too. It's like, so most marathons you have like the tip of the spear and then there's the back of the packers or the general pack.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to call them back of the packers, but people are trying to get through the marathon. Here, that fan of the spear is so much broader than other places. And so people are pushing really hard to get there. So, I mean, that's my theory around why you see that.
Yeah, no, it's a place that has a partial promise of a personal best, and I think with that, like people they aim for the stars at it, and I think there's something remarkable around that collective.
I need to be reserved because I don't want to get too excited.
Talk about
yeah,
goals, like it's just we got to execute a relaxed race and then just push home hard.
Yeah, I really do need to reserve my energy.
Yeah, I'm not there to dictate how this thing goes this time.
Well, yeah, let's cool down a little bit. Let's change the subject to Thanksgiving because we still have to get through that too. Are you staying in Flagstaff for Thanksgiving?
We are, and we're signed up for a little local turkey trot.
Mm-hmm.
Where
all right,
we're going to be doing. We're going to be dressed up as turkeys, the two professional turkeys.
Good. That's amazing.
From good old trail gangsters himself. He's setting it up. So that's going to be fun. And look, we're in taper mode, so we're just keeping it relaxed, but we're just having a good time Thursday morning. So
yeah, Calli, you look very excited about that.
Thanksgiving to me is so confusing. Like it's just like I don't know. It's nice. It's really nice. Like, I guess I have celebrated it now a few times.
Yeah,
kind of.
But here's the thing: it's like this meal is really precious to Americans, and I get to comment on this because I'm really between both worlds at this point. We really put a lot of stock into this, and it's just an exquisite meal. It's like you're full, like you're happy, and all of that, and like there's so many places in the UK where you can get a meal that's better than how we do it in the States.
For that one day, yeah.
And we can get it like every day of the week if we want it. And like a massive plate. Like
it's like kind of the English tradition. Like we have a roast dinner. It's normally on every Sunday. So every Sunday, like we have like a massive roast dinner. And it's just like it's like a Thanksgiving meal basically. And we have places all around the UK. It's just like called a carvery. We'll just go and have a carvery, and like so after a Sunday long run, it's our favorite thing to do. Like afternoon, like we're starving. We've just run 22 miles, whatever we've run, and then you just go and have this mound of food, and it's the best.
I was gonna say, yeah, that sounds specifically designed for a long run day. That sounds perfect.
I love it.
It's affordable priced. It's like quality food. Oh my god, it's the best. And so we're just gonna try to hopefully pull that off like Thursday night for us.
Do the Yorkshire pudding.
Exactly. See, there's things that we're missing here in the States. And
the good
we
gravy,
just got to try
like
to bring it in.
Proper gravy, mint sauce, cranberry sauce. That makes it for sure. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Bring the carvery energy to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I mean, CIM is on a Sunday, so I feel like this should be like,
that would go well.
Yeah, it would go really well after a marathon, I think. After like quite a few hours, because you feel a bit fragile after, don't you?
Yeah, there is typically an after party that starts later in the afternoon, but who knows? Maybe we'll get a big roast bird there this year.
That and a couple beers. That's what we'll be looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. One year it was at a bowling alley afterwards, and that was a choice. I think to watch people try and bowl afterwards on those quads.
I'll put myself out for a while if I do that. So that will be.
Just pull your hamstring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, looking forward to watching both of you race, and thank you so much for jumping on here. We're like 2 weeks away, I would think. So have a safe and pleasant taper heading into Sacramento, and we'll see you then. This is Calli Hauger-Thackery and Nick Hauger, the married couple that'll both be racing in Sacramento at CIM come December 8th. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.